Imagine selling something that doesn't exist. Sounds impossible, right? But a man did just that. He sold a fake airport. Yes, you heard it right. A fake airport. Not a toy model, not a digital representation, but an actual, tangible, supposedly functioning airport. And we're not talking about a few $1,000s here. No, this audacious scam involved a mind-numbing amount of $242 million. Now, who could pull off such an incredible feat? Enter our protagonist, or should we say antagonist, a man whose name we'll reveal later. A man of charm, wit, and an uncanny ability to manipulate reality. A man who turned the impossible into the possible, making the unbelievable believable. He didn't just create a story, he built an entire world around it, a world so convincing that investors were lured into parting with their millions. So how did he do it? How did he manage to sell a non-existent airport for such a colossal sum? Was it pure charisma, an intricate web of lies, or a combination of both? We'll dive into all that and more as we unravel this fascinating tale of deception and audacity. But before we proceed, let us welcome you to Wapspin TV, your go-to place for the most intriguing stories from around the globe. We venture into the unknown, the bizarre, and the downright unbelievable to bring you tales that will leave you questioning reality. And this story, my friends, is no different. So get ready to embark on a journey into the world of high stakes, grand deception, and the man who dared to sell the impossible. Because at Wapspin TV, we don't just tell stories, we take you on an adventure. Strap in as we delve into this mind-boggling tale of deceit. Every great scam starts with an idea, and this one was no different. In a world filled with countless con artists, our protagonist stood out with his audacity. His plan? Selling a non-existent airport for a jaw-dropping $242 million. It all began with a simple thought, a spark of ingenuity. He looked at the world of real estate, a world filled with tangible, concrete assets. He saw the high stakes, the big players, the astronomical sums of money changing hands, but instead of being daunted, he was inspired. He saw an opportunity to create something out of nothing. Imagine the audacity of it all, the audacity to dream up a scam of this magnitude, the audacity to believe he could pull it off, the audacity to step into a world where he was an outsider and convince everyone that he belonged. He crafted a grand narrative, a story so compelling that it was hard to resist. He spoke of a modern, state-of-the-art airport, a hub of international travel, commerce, and luxury. He painted a picture so vivid, so enticing that investors were drawn in, captivated by the promise of unprecedented profits. Before we delve deeper into this fascinating tale, let's take a moment to remind you, if you're enjoying this story, do make sure you're subscribed to Wapspin TV. We bring you intriguing stories like this every week, stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. But let's get back to our protagonist. With every lie, every forged document, every staged meeting, he was building a castle in the sky, a castle that looked so real, so solid, that people were willing to invest millions into it without a second thought. He was a dream weaver, a master of illusions. He was selling not just an airport, but a dream of wealth, of success, of a future so bright it was blinding. But as we know, all that glitters is not gold. With the plan in place, it was time for action. With a scam of this magnitude, the execution had to be flawless. As we delve deeper into the story, we begin to unravel the intricate web of deception spun by our con artist. His first step was to create an illusion of legitimacy. He crafted intricate blueprints of the non-existent airport, complete with artist renderings of sleek airplanes and bustling terminals. He even fabricated government approval documents and a well-drafted business plan projecting astronomical profits. The key was in the details, and our scammer was a master of deception. He then set about establishing his credibility. He presented himself as a successful entrepreneur with a Midas touch, flaunting a luxurious lifestyle financed by his previous successful ventures. He spun tales of his connections with high-ranking government officials and industry leaders, further solidifying his image as a man of influence and power. Next came the selling. He targeted wealthy investors, tantalizing them with the promise of high returns. He painted a picture of an aviation boom, an untapped market, and an opportunity to be a part of something revolutionary. His eloquence and charisma, coupled with his seemingly solid plan, were enough to convince even the most skeptical of investors. But the scammer didn't stop there. He knew the importance of maintaining the facade. He regularly updated his investors with progress reports, complete with photoshopped images of the construction site, and even hosted grand parties to celebrate the milestones. And of course, throughout this process, he never missed an opportunity to remind everyone about his successful YouTube channel, Wapspin TV. He would casually drop the name in conversations, subtly encouraging his victims to subscribe and follow his journey. The execution was indeed flawless, with a well-thought-out plan, a convincing persona, and a knack for manipulation. The scammer managed to sell a non-existent airport for a whopping $242 million. Against all odds, he had done it, but could he get away with it? As with all things built on lies, the truth began to surface. Now let's talk about how this audacious scam started to crumble. It all began with a seed of doubt, a misplaced word, a discrepancy in the paperwork. You see, when you're dealing with a transaction as massive as selling an airport, there are a lot of eyes on the process. And eventually one of those eyes spotted something amiss. The initial suspicions were brushed off as minor errors, nothing more than a paperwork glitch. But as the inconsistencies piled up, the suspicion turned into concern. The buyers started digging deeper, scrutinizing every document, every claim, every assurance they'd received. They reached out to aviation authorities, local government officials, even satellite imaging companies. They wanted proof, concrete evidence that this airport, worth a staggering $242 million, actually existed. And guess what? They found nothing. Zilch. No, that's right, folks. The elaborate web of deception, the carefully constructed narrative, it all came crashing down. The airport that was supposed to be a profitable investment, a symbol of progress and development, didn't exist. It was nothing more than an illusion, a figment of a clever con artist's imagination. Now, I hope you're finding this story as fascinating as I am. If you are, and you want to keep hearing about incredible tales like this one, make sure you're subscribed to Wapspin TV. We've got plenty more where this came from. So the truth was out. The airport was a sham, the transaction a fraud. The buyers had been duped, fooled by a man who'd sold them a dream that turned out to be a nightmare. The scam was exposed, the illusion shattered. The scam was exposed, but what happened to the man who sold a fake airport? The fallout from such a scandal was bound to be dramatic. As the dust settled on the audacious scheme, the repercussions began to unfold in a grand spectacle of legal battles and public outcry. The man who had peddled a non-existent airport for a whopping $242 million was now in the hot seat. As law enforcement closed in, he faced a litany of charges, including fraud, money laundering, and grand theft. The courts would not look kindly on his actions, and he found himself staring down the barrel of a lengthy prison sentence. Meanwhile, those duped by the scam were left reeling. The investors who had poured millions into the phantom airport grappled with the reality of their predicament. The loss was not just financial, the blow to their pride was equally as severe. They had been fooled, tricked into buying an airport that simply did not exist. The public watched in disbelief as these high-flying investors were abruptly brought down to earth. The shockwaves of the scandal reverberated far and wide, serving as a stark reminder of the audacious lengths some will go to for a quick buck. It highlighted the importance of due diligence, of verifying before investing, and it served as a cautionary tale for all. As we wrap up this intriguing tale, a quick reminder to subscribe to Wapspin TV. Stay tuned for more incredible stories, unraveling the most audacious scams and delving into the minds of those daring enough to conceive them. The aftermath of the scam was a spectacle in itself, a dramatic conclusion to an unbelievable tale. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of greed and deception, a lesson learned the hard way by those involved. And so ends the incredible tale of the man who sold a fake airport. Remember to always check before you buy, even if it's an airport. In a world where scams are becoming increasingly sophisticated, it's a lesson we would all do well to remember.